Dorrit's contribution to modernism was uncelebrated for a long time, but really important. She was one of a handful of artists who brought very specific ideas about how to paint in a cubist manner. She spent 3 years training in London and Paris, and then she came back with all these new ideas about how to paint. It looked crazy to people. You know, art was meant to be about something that looked like the world around you. This proposed something radically different. We do see a lot of the conservative critics talking about modernism as this kind of wacky, foreign, female, almost conspiracy. Colin Simpson declared, and this is his quote, "If Dorrit Black is modern art at its best, then I'm an Eskimo in the Louvre." James Stewart MacDonald, director of the Art Gallery of New South Wales, remarked that since the war, there had been a tremendous intrusion of women painters. They had always painted badly. Very slick as students, but as soon as they got away from their instructors, they fell off and eventually disappeared. The underlying view is that women weren't even meant to be painting. They weren't even meant to be, in the professional world. And that would have taken one heck of a lot of determination for a woman in Sydney at that time, because the environment was at worst hostile, at best possibly indifferent, but she persevered.
When Dorrit Black arrived back from having been in Europe for 2 years and she established her modern art centre, she was the first woman to ever run an art gallery in Australia. But she was also the first person to ever use the word modern in an arts organisation. She never married, she never had children. So she resigns herself to being a single woman, and she resigns herself to being fully committed and dedicated to her artistic practice. The other freedom that Dorrit had as a woman is in 1936, she bought herself a Hillman Minx car. And so she drove, she could drive, she was independent and mobile. So there's a very modern woman. She was hard at it, if you like, and really, really busy. And of course, she then received a letter from home in Adelaide from her brother. And it was news that her father had passed away and that she was needed back home. Because she was the unmarried daughter, it was expected that it was her duty to give up her professional commitments and walk away. And these are universal situations for women. It hasn't changed. The added tragedy of Dorrit was that she died suddenly in a car crash. She was aged 59, and so her career was very suddenly cut short. There was a critic in Adelaide who said, "I cannot believe Dorrit exhibited so much courage against so much prejudice. It will be a long time before Australia ever recognises how important she was."